Hello, everyone, and welcome to one of our conversations with the filmmakers whose films are being presented as part of the Locarno Open Door Screenings 2020. This year, the open door screenings are happening online, of course. As you probably know, we have a selection of 10 feature films coming from Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Myanmar as part of the focus that the Open Doors initiative is putting on the cinemas of Southeast Asia and Mongolia since last year and until next year. Many of you may be already familiar with the Open Doors platform, which is a very specific strand of the program and the activities of the Locarno Festival. It is an initiative that is organized in a collaboration between the Locarno Festival and the Swiss Agency for Development and Cooperation of the Swiss Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And this initiative is meant to foster collaboration between different countries, different film industry, in order to facilitate the production of creative independent films in countries where it is a little bit more difficult to create this kind of cinema. The Open Doors screenings are the public interface of the Open Doors platform, and every year we try to give an insight on what kind of cinema is produced in the countries in focus. Today, we are presenting a film from Malaysia called Songlap, and we are very glad to have with us, to welcome with us, the filmmakers, writers, creators of the story, Effendi Maslan and Fariza Zina Isaac. Welcome, Fariza and Effendi.
Hi,
Hello.
nice to see
As
you,
a
Paulo.
Yeah, good to see you too, guys. Welcome. And I hope the audiences of the online edition of the Open Door screenings will discover your film and like it. As a way to start our conversation, I would like to ask you the obvious question. What does the title Songlap mean, and why did you choose it for your film?
Actually means, in the simplest terms, is a slang for to steal, or and also maybe you can also maybe it's also like to take everything. It has some connotation that implies greed, and it's also associated a lot with embezzlement. So initially, the story, the title was not Songlap; it was Adam, and then it went to Adam and Hawa, which is really not a very good title. But when the story developed and we were pretty much close to getting the final draft, we changed it to Songlap, and it just came to mind that it's the most appropriate word for what the story is all about. Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more on how you work together? You're a couple, but you're also the working together as directors and creators of the story. For example, you wrote the script of Songlap, but I guess you guys are very much hands-on on the whole process in making the films, and specifically, maybe you can tell us how you worked on Songlap.
Okay. Okay. So basically, she wrote mostly basically in English. Is it okay? The internet. Okay. She wrote basically mostly in English. So she will come asking me about how's this sound in Malay. So I will help her translate it into Malay. And during shooting, we will remind each other, this is why we wrote this particular scene, and the reason why the character have to say like that, or the particular behavior have to be like that. So we always remind each other.
Yeah. Usually, so basically, how I am the one who writes, and he's my most important support system. Because I tend to be insecure, or I get into a rut or whatever, and he helps me out with pushing things forward, giving that encouragement, bouncing off ideas. Also, like on set, I think we have very specific roles as well. Like I communicate a lot more with the actors. He's more behind the scenes with the technical aspects, and he'll tell me and he'll give a bunch of ideas as well. And then I'm more like the mouthpiece, basically, of the two. And so, we would work together in that way. We'll huddle together, talk about what should be done, what should not be done, whether we're on the same wavelength about certain things, because, sometimes there'll be moments where I'm not quite sure. I like this take, but then I need someone to, do you think you feel the same way? Did you feel that? Because sometimes you tend to feel like, is it just in my imagination? I thought it was really good, but so it's great to have someone there who's also at the same wavelength, who's got the same kind of like taste in things, and so we bounce off our ideas off each other, and I think that's how we work. And I do enjoy working with him, even though I admit I can be quite difficult to work with sometimes.
Even sometimes the actors come to us and suggest words, so we have to think back why in the first place we choose that specific word. So we always remind ourselves before we change anything on the script.
Yeah, I tend to get excited, like, oh yeah, that sounds like a really great idea. And he'll remind me, oh no, we can't change it because of, this is the reason, because further down the story, this is what happened, or this is the reason why we wrote it that way.
Because the details of word the meaning can change the whole character or the whole detail of the films.
In the specific case of Songlap, how did you develop the story? Where does the original inspiration come from, and how did you portray these characters, the young protagonists of the film?
Okay, it came from actually, it started off with an article that I found. Actually, I'm not sure whether the article came first or it came with some bits and pieces of scenes. I think
come later. The article come later. Yeah.
So I think when it first came about, when it was still Adam and Adam Hawa, and it was all just scenes and shots and moments of and characters, and it wasn't really quite a story yet. And there was this the younger brother was supposed to be deaf, and then it was just completely a different story. There was a gun in the story. There's this cab driver looking for his daughter, and that stayed kind of. Then I found an article that the title was Tailor by Day and Forger by Night. It was about a woman, a single mother with 5 children, and she had to work as a tailor in the daytime, and at night she does forges. She forges documents at night to make money. And I thought that was very interesting. But then the story changed again, because I came across another article about baby selling, about this whole syndicate of selling babies that was run by this woman, elderly woman. And there was a doctor involved, and so then that's how it all came together slowly. So there are bits and pieces of the earlier ideas that then developed into what became Songlap eventually, with all these articles that came about. And also I think there's a lot of in this whole movie, because the title is Songlap, right? It's got a lot to do with money and what do you call it, corruption and corrupt characters as well. It's all about how I think we were at a point in our time, we were kind of like wondering about our worth as well as creative people, and so there's a lot of scenes where there's a lot of transactions happening, whether it's about love, getting affection, from the mother, there's transaction, everything has got to do with money, whether it's information, whether it's even the scene where the cab driver hands back the identification card or wallet that he found from one of the characters, the female character, and he says, and the father doesn't even say thank you, and the cab driver was so angry. He says, it doesn't take money to say thank you, so there are all these things that has got to do with a lot with the transaction and in the story as well.
So basically, in terms of characterization, we see is the people around us. How do we see people? This kind of character is interesting. Why do we inject that a bit? The specific into mama, or into the father, or into Adam, Art, and Hawa.
Yeah, it's a lot of observation as well. I mean,
Oh,
we
yeah.
went to we actually went around to see there's this place in KL where is near the brothels. So you'd see how the pimps will be outside along the corridor calling on the men, hey, come on, and then so there's a scene in the movie that was actually what happened to us, because I was like walking and ahead of him, I think, or behind him, and this lady was asking him to come in, and then she noticed me and she said, oh, sorry. I was like, yeah, okay, I'll put that in the movie. So, so that was also, that was part of the process as well, being there and seeing what was happening. So yeah.
One thing that impresses me every time I'm watching the film is how you work with all your actors. I mean, performances are really, really great all along the film. But of course, the most impressive ones are the ones coming from the three main characters, the three main young actors playing Ad and Hawa. Can you tell us a little bit more about these characters and the actors there that are playing them?
Okay. Okay, let's see. Let's talk about, maybe we talk about who first? Is the older brother. So that's Shahizi Sam, played by Shahizi Sam. He was at his peak of his popularity at that point in time. Apparently, he is actually, we did not know, we did not realize then that he's actually a very
big superstar.
We know he was a big superstar, but we didn't realize that he also had a really wide range in terms of in terms of acting. But those who knew him and who had followed his career right from when he was a drama actor, they knew that. But we didn't. We only knew him from when he was when he did all the movies, and he did mostly at that time. I think he was very popular because he did a lot of comedy. But he was immensely popular at that time, and we were very, very lucky because he was in between contracts, I think, with the studio that he was with, I think, so, and he was very interested in the script, so we're very lucky in that way, that he wanted to do something that really was able to showcase what he could do as an actor. And we were very happy as well, because when we met him, I thought, immediately, he is the older brother. We had like a pairing session with the younger brother. We brought them both together, and then we saw the chemistry, and then in terms of physicality, they worked together. It worked well. So we're very happy to have him on board. And he is really, I'd say he really knows how to capture moment to moment in terms of his acting. He asks a lot of questions, and I was very happy about that. We really enjoyed
his process of before enter the frame. So he makes sure that he do his process. I see him before he enter the camera, so he makes sure that he deliver. So when he entered the frame, then he deliver it.
And he really would ask when we have our reading together, and he would ask all these questions, like, what does this word mean? Why am I saying this? Why is this character saying this? I mean, like, he was really meticulous in terms of what his process was. And we were very, very surprised and very happy, because we enjoy that. We love that process with the actors as well. And then I think they bonded together, all three of them, so that chemistry that you see is actually even off screen was like that. I mean, like, him and the younger brother Art, they actually did, I think they went to the Malaysian Film Festival together, if I'm not mistaken. And they saw themselves as brothers in real life, so like in terms of Shafi'i Naswib, plays the younger brother. I had my eyes on him already from when I saw him in Yasmin Ahmad's movie. So I thought, okay, and it was called Musin. So I thought, okay, this is it. This is going to be Art. So he came in, and as usual, we require everyone to come in for sort of like either audition process, regardless, just to see whether everything works out well. And I think he had a tough time with that, because he had not been. I think he was doing a lot of drama at that point. So when you're on TV,
the habits.
It tends to be, they tend to prefer a bit more over the top, in terms of acting. So he forgotten that, when you're 20-foot screen or bigger screen, your acting, you can be a little bit more subtle.
Mm.
So he had forgotten that. So he had to sort of like, I think he had to try and find that back again. So his process was quite a bit tough for him, but he delivered pretty much how I imagined him to be at, and it was great. As for Hawa, the Sarah Ali, she came in for the audition as well. I think I can't remember someone called her in, and I don't know whether she had any acting experience, but I do know that
she's fresh.
Fresh, right? Is that
Yeah,
right?
she's fresh.
Songlap was her first film.
Yeah.
So when she came in, when she walked through the door, I just immediately went to Penny. This is it. She's Howard. She's got that.
You can
there's
feel
something.
that.
Yeah, you can feel. Yeah, there's something
you
about.
automatically can feel when you see the face. Oh, okay.
This is
and the reaction.
Yeah.
You can feel automatically the aura, the charismatic.
Oh yeah, you can feel that this is Howard. But she also had a pretty tough time in terms of auditioning because I think she couldn't quite reach the emotional bits. Because what we do in auditions, we give them really the hard parts as well as the slightly more lighter bits to see their range and all that. So she couldn't, but she said she will do it, and then during shoot, we were able to get that from her.
We make sure that everybody deliver. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be the actors going to be on the screen.
Yeah,
so
not us. Yeah.
Our job as the actor to make sure they
look
good and perform well.
Yes, exactly, precisely. It's not us, they're the ones, and our work is in their hands, as it is in everybody else's hands. The cinematographer, everyone's hands. So we have to really make sure that that they do that the best that they can.
At that time, at that moment, we just do it what necessary we have to do, right?
Yeah.
I remember very vividly when I first saw the film in a theater in Kuala Lumpur at the time of its original release. I was really impressed because I didn't expect a Malay film to touch upon such daring, controversial subjects. The film is dealing with child trafficking, with drug abuse, and even incest. So these topics, these subjects, felt really, really astounding for me in a Malay film that was being released theatrically, that was in the cinemas. So I wanted to ask you, back then when you made the film, was it difficult to finance the project, having such topics at hand in the script? And how was it perceived at the moment when you completed the film? Did you face any problem with the local censorship? How did audiences react when the film hit the theaters?
Okay. I think that hang on, the audio is okay. In terms of, I think Songlap is definitely not the first though Malaysian movie to touch on like drugs. I mean, there have been quite a number of Malay movies before that have also, drugs has been quite a bit of gangsters and all that. But having said that, I think it's just the way that we presented it was a little bit more probably more hits a nerve in terms of like how real it is. So that probably is what sets us a little bit apart from all the other previous movies that have been done, in such a way. But
thank you to Lina Tan, persuade Grand Billions that time. So we got green lit from the late Ahmad Puat Ona for Songlap, basically.
He was the EP before he left to retire. I think he had greenlit Songlap, and we were lucky that he actually saw something in the movie, because I don't think really, especially with this day and age, I do not see Songlap ever being greenlit for no way. And actually, it did take even Lina about 2 years to get it into production, because of now I think he retired, and there was a change of there all these things that happened, right? So she persisted, and because we jumped into Songlap straight after our first movie, which is Kami, and she saw something, even though it was still just bits and pieces of ideas here and there, and so we were just, I think we're just really lucky that it was just the moment of that time, but we are thankful that Lina stuck with trying to persuade the studio to finance it, and also
So it was very much. Sorry if I interrupt you, but I guess this is very interesting for the filmmakers and the producers who will watch this video. The fact that it was a time when there were some producers that were a little bit more adventurous and had the possibility of opening up the space for filmmakers like you, or you were mentioning earlier, Bunohan, other Malay films that were trying to bring something new to the local industry. I guess this is a very interesting point to underline.
Yes, absolutely. Because I think other movies that got made as well were a lot more like after that was also like something like Pukat, if I'm not mistaken, and Chowkit and all these other movies that were, you know, I mean, the studios were actually supporting works that were not necessarily blockbuster films, but then that were able to travel to film festivals as well. But somehow things have changed a little bit more, have shifted far away from there currently. I think studios are more, because they've tasted the double digit, you know, when it comes to raking in at the block, you know, in the cinemas, you rake in double digit millions in the double digit. So now their focus is on that. So it's in terms of making, of course, a lot more money, because they've managed to do that with quite a number of movies. So it'd be nice that if studios went back to that balance of doing stuff that work that is a little bit more meaningful, as well as wanting to
longevity.
Movies that with longevity, and you know, as well as movies that are entertaining and do well in the
both
market.
circuit, festival and commercial.
You know, it'd be great to have that balance, you know, but I think right now they tend to be a bit more towards whatever that
box office.
Box office, whatever it is that's going to be the bigger number than whatever it is that they've already achieved. So I think it was just in terms of time, the time of the, you know, during that time, we were just all very, very lucky that there was that support from the studios and producers, and they were all excited with doing movies that were somewhat different from what you usually see. So, you know, so that's how it was at that time, I think. But more importantly, I think also it's about, because I think that it's all about gatekeepers, you know, at the end of the day, who greenlights it, who greenlights all these projects. It's all also a matter of personal taste, I do think, you know. So that is a whole other story altogether, you know. You know, so I think that is something that plays a huge role as well in terms of getting movies made.
The evaluation team, their evaluation team, their knowledge, you know, how to
what they're looking for, actually, for a movie that represents probably the kind of, now probably they're looking for what kind of movies that are representing the studios. I know, I read all these things that are, you know,
just keep on doing what we love.
We'll just keep on trying, you know. I mean, like, we've been quiet. It's not by design, you know. We've been trying our best since 2015. We've got you know, we've been working on a new project, and you know, we went in for the development fund grant. We got it. Okay, it's a huge budget movie. It's a period movie that we're being very ambitious with our third movie, you know. But having said that, we also tried pitching for TV series. We tried pitching for other, you know, but I don't know, nothing sticks, you know, considering that what we've done before, it's very strange. So yeah, we'll just keep trying.
You have already been answering what was supposed to be my last question, because I was I was planning to ask you what you've been up to and whether you were working on a current project in this new scenario that you've been very, very aptly describing. So I guess you have already answered this question, unless you want to add something to that more in detail, maybe about this hugely budgeted project that you were trying to develop. What is it about? What could it be, if ever it is getting made?
Okay. I think it's like it's basically, okay, it's a pre-movie. It's inspired by an old myth or legend, I could say. And we went in we've written it. We've already even pitched it number of places. It's a period movie. There's going to be a lot of martial arts, and I think in terms of sets and all that, it's just, I think, exorbitant in terms of like it scares the studio when they see the price tag on it. But we believe in it. I think that it's something that needs to be made, because there hasn't been one there hasn't been one. Okay. It's a period movie. Yes, there has been a period movie been made before, many years ago, but the kind of
The treatment.
the treatment, the kind of movie that we're looking at has not been made. So we stand by it, that we think that it should be made. We hope that it will get made. We're still looking around for financiers, anyone who would like to take it on. And but other than that, right now we are working on actually a horror film in the meantime. So hopefully that gets
Hopefully
gets
into production next year.
Yeah, next year, because of
So,
the with the situation with the virus now, and that has also put a bit of big obstacle there. We were supposed to go into production before, but then it all. So basically, so hopefully we get into production next year. Fingers crossed. So that one's a horror movie, and that's also set in the
period piece.
Yeah, it's a period piece as well. So again, even though the cast is small, but because of the set has to be built, it will require quite a bit in terms of budget as well. A lot of things to consider making it.
Well, we are also crossing fingers that this new project will happen hopefully next year. And I need to wrap this session. So yeah, thank you so much. Terima kasih banyak, Fariza and Effendi. This was a really nice session. And I hope many new audiences will discover Songlap thanks to this online presentation from the Open Door screenings of Locarno 2020, and that they will also discover other films in our selection. Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Enjoy the movie.
Enjoy the movie.
All right. Bye.